It took over 2,000 raw pictures. We hit a problem. A car problem.
So I was shooting blind the entire time?
I am calling it all off. Man, it's been a cool minute since I've been in this setting. It's kind of nice. How you like that pose? Yo, this feels good. Yeah, I like this. All right, here we go. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you just came from watching the video, yo, thank you so much. And if you haven't seen the video, dude, go freaking watch it. Well, watch this one. Just watch both of them, okay? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
Cal Williams reference? Of course not. Moving on. For those of you who don't know, a hyperlapse is just a moving time lapse, and pretty much it just involves subject somewhere and then you keep the same spot on the grid there and then you just keep in the same spot. Makes sense? And it looks a little something like this. Now, dude, I'm gonna tell you something. I have seen a lot of cinematic videos in my day, dude. Sam Colder, J.R. Ollie, Joseph Garcia. See how I plug myself? I have seen so many cinematic videos, and I've done a lot of research on who has done the longest hyperlapse. Some people have claimed to have done the longest hyperlapse when in actuality, it's just a stop motion video. That ain't a hyperlapse, man. Other people have claimed to have done long hyperlapses, but they're just videos sped up. That's not a hyperlapse, man. And then there's other people who have done some shortcut on some action cameras where it's just kind of all chopped. That's not a hyperlapse, man. Then you have the purists who say that you have to take a picture every single step and you can't do it on video, anything like that. This is for the purists. I'm not a purist, dude. Whatever gives you the effect, just go for it. But because I was claiming it to be the longest hyperlapse, I had to go hard with it. So I'll be honest, maybe somebody has done something longer than me. Maybe somebody has done it shorter. I don't care. But this is just to get the conversation started, so lay off. But here's the thing, I knew that a regular old hyperlapse was not going to cut it. I knew that even if it was the longest thing ever and it looked smooth, I knew that I had to stand out. Okay. No goofy movie references. So you know I had to put my story spin on it, and I needed to get some friends to help me out with this because this is gonna be a lot of work. So it starts off with the voiceover on a phone call. It'll be 120 frames, has to look really nice, like that kind. And the drop is going to be a hyperlapse outside of the thingy. Thingy? Yeah, so I got the help from my friends. I knew that shooting a hyperlapse wouldn't be a problem because I've done it several times, but there was one huge problem that I was avoiding. This is probably like the longest hyperlapse I've seen in terms of distance.
A hyperlapse is basically a moving.
You know, we want to make it show that it really is the longest. So
how are we supposed to do this? How are we supposed to show that this is the world's longest hyperlapse? Let me take you to school for a second. Records are records because they can be quantified, they can be evaluated, they can be counted. You can see it on a grid and see what is longer, what is shorter. That's how records are calculated. So let me tell you the 3 Ds of hyperlapse.
Of dodgeball. Dodge, duck.
Dip, dive, and dodge. Okay, it's not really the D's of dodgeball, it's actually the 3 Ds of hyperlapse. Duration of video, distance traveled, and the number of pictures. Not only do we have to figure out is if the duration, what's gonna look better in terms of distance or just what you're actually seeing in terms of time. So what I suggest is we do a little mixture of the two, all right? We get something that is going to be pretty long and also have like a slow motion effect that I wanna try with the hyperlapse. And yeah.
And how do you accomplish that?
I have no idea. So what did we decide to do? Go with how many pictures it was going to take, how long the video was going to take, or how much distance was actually traveled. Clearly it was more complicated than I expected it. So just like everything, we had to take the best of all 3 worlds. Kind of. First, you're not gonna know how many pictures I took because you don't have my memory card, bruh, so you don't know. Number 2, you don't even know how many frames per second I exported it as. And number 3, based off of the video, you don't know how far I walked. Unless you're a local and actually walked my entire trek, which that'd be kinda cool. So let's be real, you really don't care about the numbers, you just wanna watch the video and be impressed and say, oh, that was long. Now that's for your average viewer, but for everybody else, well, if it's gonna be a real record, we gotta count it. So I did. So before we went out and shot, I went onto Google Earth to see what the distance was, as well as to be able to find a good spot, because in hyperlapses you want to have a very clean shot of your subject. If not, it's going to get lost and it's probably going to look like trash. More on that later. Oh yeah, before I move any further, I am all about working smarter, not harder, which means that we're doing this all from a car. But when you're watching a hyperlapse, you probably wouldn't notice anyway. Genius, I know. We want to get an idea just to make sure that this works, you know, before we take the time to take every single individual picture. So what I'm doing is I'm going into a time-lapse mode first, and I'm just roughly keeping in the same area just to see how it's going to look. Nice glasses.
Yeah, this chump ended up talking him to give them to me.
Are they real Ray-Bans?
No, don't you ask that question.
Yeah, this is test 2, so we're just going into time-lapse mode.
We're at this moment, we're just trying to figure out the route and see what's best for the composition.
See, this looks nasty. I want to keep that going. I want to be able to see the camera do this, you know what I mean?
Pan.
Yeah, fully pan to get that full parallax effect.
I think on Fifth Street.
Yeah,
right?
Fifth Street or something like that. Yeah, it goes like all the way around. So I've said it before, but the thing that makes hyperlapses look so good is when you have some kind of foreground, but at the same time it doesn't block your view. So you gotta find a happy medium. That's hard to do. So we switch routes. Again.
Now, them shoulders are not gonna be tight because you see how he's resting right there?
Hey,
see how he's resting?
You see that
Hey.
girl on the other card? Like, she thinks we're
She's checking
recording
me
her
out?
or not.
Oh.
What's up, babe?
no.
You checking me out? Dude, you're with your husband. How dare you?
Oh my God! I just
Oh,
totally ran a red light. No,
Dang.
I'm
Jeez, bro.
You are the DD.
double D.
I would love to actually do it right at golden hour so that whenever we come through here, it looks like it's daylight, and then as we get closer, the lights light up as we push into the Devon Tower.
Switch.
Hey, the Febreze. I was looking for this. What abs, bro?
I feel great.
He said he ain't got no nipple. Oh my gosh, I have streaks on the lens. Everybody's gonna have to deal with it.
Look,
Yeah, just stop.
yeah,
Clean
okay,
it
cool.
up. Wasting a test shot.
I know.
My lens
What a noob. What a noob.
We finally found a good route, but we hit a problem. A car problem. So my window doesn't go up anymore. So,
What annoys me about all this is that I told him beforehand, you should just look around and see what shots are the best. I even got on Google Maps, Google Earth the hell out of all the streets, and he didn't do that. He should have done that before we got here.
oh, for real? Let's go into our text messages, shall we? Let the record show that I did that, not him. Got it done. We got our route on how it's going to be done. What we learned is this: on the turns, I'm gonna have to get off the car and I'm gonna have to actually take the shots, take them so that it doesn't look as jarring. I mess up here because I couldn't rotate because my abs hurt.
Nope.
Oh, I'm getting this. Yeah, my bad, homie, right there. Yeah. And then, so anyway, that's pretty much a wrap for day 1. Now that the test shots were done and we figured out our route and where we're gonna take the pictures, 2 days later we came back and we need to actually take pictures with my camera with the good high quality H2O.
High quality H2O.
Waterboy reference? Y'all need to watch more movies. So the footage of this is done on a whack camera, so just deal with it, sorry. The shooting begins.
Shooting begins.
Austin Powers gold member? Nope.
no.
All right. Way to go, guys. After we knocked out the beginning B-roll sequence, we hopped into the actual hyperlapse. The hyperlapse was done outside of the sunroof, but the guys kept messing with me and saying, yo, man, the cops are coming. Yo, the cops are coming. There's no cops coming. They're just freaking me out, right? Until one moment, there actually was a cop.
Hey, you should take a picture of the cop.
Wait, where's the cop at?
Dude, right behind you.
Oh, freaking. Didn't get it on camera, but the cop literally pulls right up to us. And he keeps going. Nobody told us anything. Whatever, some lie, you know. Remember, I told you that I had to count everything, so we set up the odometer so we can know how long we traveled.
What really sucks about this project is the fact that we don't really know the outcome of what's gonna look like, hoping that the end result is as good as we're envisioning it.
So yeah, that is the brutal truth about hyperlapses. It's not like a video where you can just play it back. The closer that you can get to playback is scrolling the wheel, and that still doesn't even look that good. It took a little over 2 hours to complete this hyperlapse, and it was about 1,500 raw pictures. And the total was a little over 3 miles covered. And we were excited, right?
We done, boy. We done.
I was so excited to edit this thing, so I grabbed some food and I started editing, but I just want to say that my shoulders were killing me.
So this is like a marathon version for a photographer.
My shoulders are hurting. So back to my office. This is where everything started to fall apart. First, I added warp stabilizer and it looked like garbage. I kind of expected this, so I was ready to go ahead and track the camera onto one point every single frame. So I did it 1,500 frames. But about halfway through, I started getting tired and a little discouraged, so I decided to come back to it later. I have been doing a little bit of post-processing work. The moments that we got into the car, the speed is wildly inconsistent. The reason why hyperlapse looks so good is just because of the consistent speed. It took me longer to process it to get to this point than it did to actually take the hyperlapse. And it still looks like trash. So the next day, I texted my friends with the bad news. By this moment, I was completely convinced that I'm not doing this again. I am calling it all off. But this is where good friends come in. No, they didn't encourage me, and there wasn't this really inspiring moment just like, you can do it and you'll be successful. Shut up. That doesn't work in the real world. But what my friends did do is this. They assumed that I was gonna learn from my mistakes and do it over again. They assumed that I would complete this project. Sometimes you don't need encouragement from your friends. Sometimes you just need them to assume your success. And so one of my boys tells me, what are you going to do better next time? That was all I needed. I was discouraged, but I got that second wind. So I went out and started looking for a completely different spot downtown. One spot looked really good because there was no buildings in the way. However, there was a whole bunch of crosswalks and it's pretty much a highway, so I couldn't do that. Another spot was really far away, but it started on a highway as well. I saw another spot that looked good, but it would be way too far of a distance. In total, I ran around to like 6 or 7 different spots. I was getting tired. Should I take the tripod off and get like a really nice locked off shot, perfect symmetry, or should I just do it with my hands? Yo, this is actually kind of discouraging. But finally, there was one spot that looked promising. So I did a test shot here. I just recorded video and I just walked the whole thing just to make sure that I had a clean line of sight all the way through. I made a quick call to my buddy Gus just to see what he would say. And finally I said, I decided to go ahead and use the tripod just because of how far I need to be, and I need to keep that thing right on there. So it's not getting any closer, so gotta get started. So I shot the thing on a tripod by myself, counted my steps and distance, and hopefully at the right time of day. At some points I was just bending over and then my back started hurting and then I started bending my knees and it was just so tiring. Like towards the end, I was literally just dragging myself on the floor just to get the shot. I didn't know if this one was going to come out better, but I decided to just run with it and I went and I took the thumbnail. I made it back to the office and just did a rough edit just to see if it was going to be worth it this time. Here we go. This might be a banger. Don't get it twisted, I was excited, I was just exhausted. That was the very same day. The only thing left was the ending. I called up my boy Evie, we shot the ending. Finally, it was done. We had all the footage that we needed and now I just had to edit it. But 2 days later, I had a plane to catch to Australia. So this had to wait. So after 2 weeks of being in Australia, hanging out with the boys and filming a whole bunch of photo battles and shoots and all this stuff, in the back of my mind the entire time, I was just thinking, yo, I have this hyperlapse I need to finish. But I wanted a second opinion, so I showed my boys the rough hyperlapse.
What the fuck? Oh my god, that's amazing.
That moment gave me so much joy because it means that all this hard work was potentially worth it. So I know you're all wondering all of the specs. Here goes. In total, it took over 2,000 raw pictures, over 9 different times, 150 gigabytes, over 16 hours worth of 1,500 pictures, camera track, 5 different days of shooting, over 1 month to complete over 30 miles covered, a lot of gas, a lot of frustration, and 2 friends that assume the best in you. That is what it took to create this entire video. But what would go down in the record books, the final video was a little over 500 raw pictures. It took about 2.5 hours to actually shoot the hyperlapse. And the distance traveled on that hyperlapse, part of it walked, part of it bent over, part of it dragged on the floor, was a total of over 1.3 miles. So much more complicated than I expected it to be. So if you can, go watch it over again. And leave a comment because I think you will be filled with a whole new appreciation of what went into that video after watching this one. Like this video for me, I truly do appreciate it. And subscribe because I'm always busting out with stuff like this. And I don't want to see another hyperlapse for a long time. I'll catch you on the flip side.